What's going on, J Station Army? I just wanted to, give you a bit of an introduction to this whole channel because this is my first video, just like this will be your first rodeo because this is Greek mythology. I will be mythologically analyzing Ian Buck's most recent masterpiece because I love his channel. Again, please don't smite me. I am just in love with this guy, okay? He's so handsome and pure, and I just wanted to criticize him a bit, spank him around, take his ass to the hooligan. But, just enjoy the video. Please don't fucking smite me. I love this guy.
Long ago, there were only gods and titans.
Actually, no, there were not only gods and titans, specifically grown-up gods. Kronos created the golden age of humans, referenced it in Hesiod's poem Works and Days. And we were there alive. There were never gods
In them because of their differences.
While there was a war between the gods and the titans called the Titanomachy, it wasn't because of their differences exactly, it was because Gaia had directed Zeus to overthrow his father Kronos for letting his brothers inside his stomach and letting Kronos' brothers inside of Tartarus, the Hecatoncheires and the Cyclops. And plus, there wasn't like constant war, it was just one gigantic war that lasted 10 years.
The titans were far more powerful than the gods, and there was nothing the gods could do to stop them.
No, not really. In ancient Greek texts, there is no mention of the gods being weaker than the titans. We can actually assume the opposites, because in Hesiod's Theogony, Kronos swallows Hestia because of fear when looking into her eyes. Fear of his throne being stolen, told by him by an oracle a couple days before. And just the fact that this happens, we can assume that probably the gods are a superior race to the titans. If you still don't believe me, you can't have into account that the Titanomachy was a war where the gods only were losing because the size difference. Even if you account the fact that Prometheus and Epimetheus were in God's side, you do have to account for the fact that there were 7 major titans and several minor ones. And again, even though he did have Nike and Zealous and Bia and Kratos under him, that doesn't mean that Zeus was actually leading the bigger army. The size difference of the armies was probably evened out after the Hecatoncheires and the Cyclops escaped from Tartarus, of course, by Zeus, killing Campe.
That is, until the gods came together and formed their most powerful weapon yet, a human named Ischyros.
Although there does seem to be a pretty common misconception about the gods creating us rather than the titans, this is not true. In Greek mythology, we can know by the Theogony that it was either the titans or the primordials that created the golden age, most commonly known to be the titans. There is no explicit reason for the gods creating a human just to go to war, because in Greek mythology, that never happens. The closest thing we get to that is Heracles, after becoming a god, fighting off the Gigantomachy and being a key part on it, killing at least 2 giants. But again, that is a really specific case, and we can know for sure that Zeus did not intend for his horny moment with Alcmene to turn into a huge war.
Was the culmination of all the most powerful gods. Zeus, the Greek god of lightning. Ryujin, the Japanese god of the sea. Kama, the Indian god of love. Tyr, the Norse god of war. Turiga, the Chinese god of nature. And Hades, the god of death.
First, what the fuck? There is not a single myth in Greek mythology that includes all of the gods from other mythologies. The closest thing we have are 2 things. First, the Greek gods, Apollo and Artemis and a couple more, disguising as half animals and going to Egypt trying to cutely explain Egyptian mythology. And the second place is a bit more obscure. It's a story of Demeter that kind of mixes with an Egyptian goddess. Yeah, as you might know, Greek gods and Egyptian gods, really similar for such, whatever. Listen, and that is the closest thing we get. They're never up together like an orgy, never happens. Now, next inaccuracy that I can here point out fast, Hades, not the fucking god of death, that's Thanatos. How dare you disrespect my boy like that? Have you ever seen his abs? By the way, the Hades skin looks sick as fuck. I would legitimately just throw myself at him. If he wants to take my soul, he can do it any day. But yeah, also I thought I'd add a couple more things. Teres like technically speaking, Tyr is not the god of war. He's the god of traditions of war. Like Aeolus in Greek mythology is the keeper of the wind. So technically speaking, it is a bit inaccurate according to ancient Greek texts. But again, just wanted to list them off right here. One of them was like really small. It was like an Asian
Arena, a place frozen in time and space, with nothing but blackness and stars, stretching infinitely from one end to the other.
Okay, right before I get to like the Greek mythology stuff, there is like one big error here. You can't say that it stretches from end to end, but it's also infinite because then it has ends. Therefore, it's not infinite. Okay, so Greek mythology, every mythology. The reason why I'm treating this as Greek mythology, you might be curious why. It is because Zeus seems to be the leader of the god, while each and every other one of them seems to have like each own leader in its own paganism and pantheon. So I just thought I'd clear that out. Of course, I'm not gonna like repeat myself saying, well, actually, those gods are not in Greek mythology, because you fucking know that. But I do need to say this. I have no idea what they're not meeting in Olympus. If Zeus is supposed to be the chief god here, then you can introduce gods from whatever culture you want, but then it would be a Mount Olympus. So yeah.
The first true hero.
Back to serious mode here. In mythology, there is no hero before the age of heroes. That is the fourth age from beginning to end by Hesiod in his own working days. Now, I do feel the need to clarify this. The fact that he says mortal with no weaknesses kind of like defeats the whole purpose of Greek mythology. Because the whole point of Greek mythology is to have this huge hero, but he has this one fatal flaw. Of course, everybody has one different. With Theseus, it's just like a promise keeping, I guess. With Heracles, it's just bad choice of wives. With Achilles, it's his heel. And every single person follows some sort of command here forever. But no weaknesses kind of like inverts Greek mythology and its tragedy and all of that, which I found extremely good and I really liked it. So just thought I'd say that in unbox your handsome man with good ideas.
Life, muttered Ischyros. Life, he says, questioned Tyr, the Norse god of war. His first word, the most powerful being to have ever existed. And his first word is life. Silence, yells Ischyros, as he blasts an energy beam straight through Tyr's heart. And to his surprise, Tyr is still standing, his expression becoming angrier and angrier until he jumps straight towards Ischyros and grabs him by the neck. And mind you, Tyr is 10 feet taller than Ischyros.
First, he misspells Zeus with the and also, please remember something. Just because somebody is a god of war, it doesn't mean that they're out to kill somebody, and just because somebody is the god of the dead does not mean that like necessarily speaking they're evil. And you're gonna see in a second there's a pretty common misconception with Hades. But let's start by Tyr, the god of war, of course. In Norse mythology, Tyr, as much as he controls war, he actually uses his power for good, establishing peace between the Jotnir and the Aesir for a short amount of time. That is because Thor. But also, I have no idea why he decided to include Tyr here instead of just going for Thor, because the Tyr personality that I'm seeing here is way more Thor-like, and also the fact that he's so big, of course, not very accurate, but also let's imagine it was, then it'd be way better for it to be Thor, considering that he's normally depicted as a big, buff man, like the people I watch after this video. I just feel like that would have been better, not necessarily an inaccuracy, but I do feel like that would have been an improvement and maybe even more accurate.
Get all of them, young one. I want to see their faces burn, says Hades, deviously.
This is exactly what I just referenced. In every Greek film that I see, whether it be the 1998 film Hercules, or let's just say a random film ever, like the Percy Jackson movies, there seems to be like this really great fixation with making Hades, the god of the dead and god of the underworld, evil. And I don't understand why exactly. Please understand for a second, Hades is one of the most chill gods in Greek mythology. Apart from maybe falling in love with another girl being married to Persephone, which he kidnaps, but again, only in some versions of the story, because in some it's Eros that causes him to do this. it's just like a big of a cloverfoot. Like, I have no idea why people think Hades is evil. Maybe because he controls death, and he wasn't very like preached in Greek mythology for being the god of death. He was way more popular as the god of being wealthy because of the resources underground, which really forms in his Roman mythology character, Pluto. Now, continuing with my sentence, Hades is not evil, and I have no idea why people think he's evil. I just thought I'd let that know because, a lot of people seem to really think that Hades has to be this creepy piece of shit that kills the people, and why not? When normally speaking, people a lot of time just give him like features of Hera without knowing. So, yeah.
Ischylos pops out of the portal, thousands of miles away from a planet that's being devoured by the Titans. Ischylos flies closer to get a better look at the Titans.
Whoa there, buddy, friendo, haha, boy. Yeah, what do you mean the planets are being devoured by the Titans? I have never seen this myth conception. Never in my life have I seen somebody that thinks that Greek Titans devoured on planets. Again, even if you want to assume that this is from another culture, which I imagine it's not because of something they say now, how are you gonna think? I feel like, okay, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that the Titans were just people before the gods. Imagine the gods before the gods, like your father. He's not a generation X, he's more like a boomer because he sucks. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. For planet eating, this seems more like the Gigantus.
Hundreds of feet tall, skin that looks like it's made out of tree bark, and talons about 50 feet long.
So, about the things he says here, I'm just gonna clarify a couple stuff really quickly. This is technically speaking a inaccuracy, but I'm gonna just choose it as a learning experience for both of us. So sit down, let me pull in your ass cheeks real quick. So, first, the Titans. They have a couple descriptions and renditions throughout all of Greek mythology, but I personally choose to believe that they have to be around 30 to 40 feet tall, like an average. Being Cronus, like, think about it. He had to like have 5 children inside them. Those children were gods, and we can assume that gods are about human sized but bigger because they're fucking buffed and that type of stuff. Now, again, I'm gonna return back the skin made of tree bark and the 50 feet talons. That is way more of a Gigantus thing in certain descriptions. Of course, in certain descriptions, Gigantus are just people but strong, but ignore those. I'm talking about original descriptions. That seems way more to be based on that. Yeah, though you almost got it right, but you didn't get it exactly right. Wrong race, a lot of people get them confused, don't worry.
Without hesitation, he flew towards them. Not normally, but at the speed of light. Must be a power he inherited from Zeus. He flew through their heads, their bodies, their legs. He flew and flew until they could no longer move and were just pieces of tree bark floating through space.
Whoa, buddy. Let's calm down there for a second. I think very profusely that he confused Hermes and Zeus. In Greek mythology, the guy that can fly at the speed of light is Hermes, the messenger god, the FedEx. Zeus can fly, we know that for sure, because he flies when he finds the mother of Perseus. But we do know that he can also not fly at the speed of light. Normally speaking, of course, if you want to argue that he should be omnipotent, then you can go fuck yourself in that corner over though, because there's chaos. So yeah, you told me, but still, in my honest opinion, I think he just confused the two.
The pieces of the Titan started to gravitate towards each other, piecing together one by one. One giant Titan, thousands of feet tall, with several arms that could cut through him in an instant. So, they sent you here to destroy me, have they?
The Titan Cronus, which I imagine is what is being represented here, being the leader of the Titans, was not either thousands of feet tall, nor was he like a creature with a lot of arms. He only had the normal amount of arms and legs of a Titan, which was 20 respectively, and also he was not a thousand feet tall. He was actually not even the biggest Titan. Also, I have no idea where the claws came in, because, well, that's not a thing in Greek mythology.
I created them, I am their father. No, That's impossible, said Ischyros. Really? Clapped the Titan. Then how'd they create you? Technically, I'm your grandfather. Ischyros is confused. Why would the god send Ischyros to destroy his own grandfather? Ah, you're conflicted, I see. Well, let me give you a backstory. See, I was the first being to ever exist. But as you know, it can get lonely being the only one of your kind. So I used my life energy, along with things that already existed in the universe. The elements, water, nature, light, and so on. And created your parents, the gods.
The Titan Kronos here seems to be taking the role of the primordial Chaos, the goddess of emptiness, which is pretty weird considering that Kronos is a descendant of Chaos.
Then he'd have to send out beams of light through the Titan's black, endless eyes.
Titans do not have black, endless seams for eyes, they just simply have big eyes, just like the gods or like us. Hey there, you handsome piece of squirrel. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was extremely fun to make, just revising Greek mythology things just to talk about them in this video. Also, congrats to Ian Bugs because this video absolutely banged just like 9/11. I really hope I can see you on the next video. If you enjoyed, drop a doodski, and also please remember to subscribe just like I will sub in for you at the Olympics. Thank you for everything you've done for me, which is just watching the video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.